Shalom, shalom, everybody. Once again, it's your brother here, Ezra ben Khazari, the Hebrew. Today, I want to get it in on some research that I've been doing while I've been away. Just searching and researching the development of what I like to call how religious Khazar Jews practice their Judaism and how it developed. From what I've gathered, I'm just going to share some of my notes, and I'm going to continue looking into this and continue making more videos looking into the Khazarian Judaism. In my research, I've seen that it starts with the flourishing of the Silk Road, particularly in the 7th to 8th centuries, with Jews from the Persia region. We know Jews have been there since the captivities. Cyrus, interesting fact about Cyrus, who allowed the Israelites to go back to Judea, he actually got into a confrontation with the Scythians as well. But Yehudim, Jews, Israelites from the Persian area, flourished in the Silk Road, and they advanced throughout Russia and Transylvania areas. It seems that Judaic merchants had came over the Pamir Mountains, and they made a new trade route that connected to Kaifeng. And this is how we get the origins of the Kaifeng Jews. But not only them, but also the Bukharian Jews as well. We see that both Karaite and Rabbinite Jews had made their habitation, in Crimea, at least as far back as the 1st century. So the ancestors of the Jews of the Caspian Sea area, who were Bukharian and Romaniote, which is the Greek Jews, similar to who the Apostle Paul had preached to, those Jews, their ancestors, and also the ancestors of the Mountain Jews, who were those same groups of Persian Jews, had began to build an empire with a Turkic group, a Turkic/Alani group in the Caucasus named the Khazars. They began to build an empire with these Khazars, as we have demonstrated in the last video. So these Jews, with the Khazars, the Jews became tech and commercial advisors to the Khagan. And by the 10th century, 900 CE AD, the Khazars started to use Hebrew and speak in Hebrew. The trail of the Judaic Khazar traders coincide with the establishment of glasswork in the Volga, the Don and the Danube, the Dniester and the Dnieper rivers, into Transylvania, into Silesia. After the conversion to Judaism, Messianic Noahide system of government was put in place with 7 judges, which is funny because you had the 7 Noahide law to establish these judges. We see in the Khaganate, it was religious toleration. So a part of the Khazarian Minhag is toleration for religions and peace, which is very fascinating. Religious toleration for up to 300 years, which is something to be applauded. We also see that after, while all of this is progressing, the Khazar Jews established ties with the Sephardim, with, Chastai Ibn Shaprut. And we see that in the Khazarian Jewish tradition, that there is use of debate and disputations, which is also normal in Judaism, period. They were known as the protector of Judaism, or the protector of Israel, even and Christianity, in some senses, as the Arabs and Islam had tried to penetrate. It was the Khazarians who had pushed them back. Sadly, they would be betrayed by the Byzantine Christian empire, who allied with the pagan Rus, ironically, to destroy this protector of Judaism. The destruction of Etil in 965 caused some Khazar Jews to go to a cave. In 986 in Ukraine, and they also spread throughout southern Russia, and as we know, into Transylvania and into Hungary. The Ashkenazim would soon meet with the Khazarim in Silesia. Abraham Prokonik was chosen by some Slavs to rule. The Khazarim began to move to Chernihiv, Koledazhin, Kostroma, Novgorod, and other places such as Grodno and Belarus, Lithuania, following the glasswork art. And this is the area of the Litvak Jews, as we've already spoken of in previous videos as well. So this is following the glasswork. You can see where the Khazarim went. During the Khaganate, we see that the Romaniot rite are the ancestors of the Ashkenazim and the Sephardim. The Romaniots of the Pannonia area and the Black Sea area has spread from the Byzantine Empire starting in the early 6th century. During the mid-8th century, Yitzhak Ha Sangari, who became the rabbi of Bulan, he had sons, and they spread in the same areas with the Litvak Jews, spreading Romaniot tradition amongst the Litvak and Hungarian Jews, into Poland and Germany also, and later into the West. Kagan Obadiah, who would have ruled somewhere around 786 to 809, he would establish the Noahide Judaism government, who wanted to establish the tradition. The Khazari were certainly Romaniot, and they were mixed with Levites, Josephites, and Simeonites. And we talked about the Simeonites in our previous video. Simeon also does have relations with the tribe of the Edomites. As we see, they were in similar areas. And Khazari are sometimes called the Red Jews. And my friend, the Hakam, has also taught us that they were called Chernev Kalpaki, or the Black Hats. So looking at the timeline, we see that Yehuda Halevi had noted that Bulan, the Kagan, converted in the year 740. And this is endorsed by Dunlop, a well-known Khazarian scholar. In year 737, the Muslims had attacked and tried to force the Kagan to become a Muslim. Al-Masudi, he quote and said, the Khazar Kagan became Jewish between 786 and 809, end quote. It seems he must have been writing about the Kagan Obadiah, who was the son of Bulan, who solidified Judaism in the Khaganate. So the Kagan, or the Bek, Obadiah, had ruled from the Volga to Chervinsky, even in Uzbekistan. He invites Yitzhak Ha Sangari, who established the Noahide Judaism as governments. And we even have evidence of this in the Shalevro grave site. It seems that this was inhabited in the late 8th to 9th century, and it was a Khazar Avar Israelite community. Another interesting fact, actually, about this grave site that we're going to get into is that some of them have Mongoloid skulls. They had Roman bricks, menorahs, etrogs, and lulavs. There were graves of horsemen. There was even one grave of a sacrifice horse. We had Slavic graves as well, with cremation being used. And a fascinating fact is that I can see some personal connection with this grave site. It's 2 hours away from someone today with the same haplogroup as me, the R1A Z280 haplogroup that I have, the particular subclade. And I also seen in the DNA Genix while just playing around that I had some mix of not only Avars, but a certain sample in the Erfurt study, Erfurt 2 sample. So I wanted to know more about this Erfurt 2 sample. So I looked and just Google searched it. And on the Eurogenes blog, someone talked about it. And I'm going to quote what he says. He says, "This is the one that I find the most fascinating because it introduces a new aspect to the history, which I had not thought about until now. A wave of Jewish migrants coming from the southern Italian peninsula seem to have acquired Avar Longobardic genes, since the time when the Longobards and their Avar allies invaded those territories. I'm not too clear on the exact historical exegeses that brought this group to Northern Europe, nor when the migration may have occurred, but I believe that the data support a period of Jewish Avar hybridization in southern Italy and possibly northern Italy as well, from about 650 CE until 1000 CE. And then he goes on to talk about the Avars and the Uralic and East Asian genes and how that could have been the source of those genes into the earthworks. It's clear that these Avars, who are related to Khazars, but these Avar Jews were Avaric, Khazaric Jews. Very fascinating. But anyway, back to the timeline. 838, we see Jewish-themed coins in circulation. So we see royal endorsement of Judaism and the religion of the Israelites. By 843, the Kagan or the Bek's office evolved into an office of Shofet or judge and priest or Kohen. And by the 930s, the Khazars are commonly known as Jews. By 985, we read that sheep, honey, and Jews exist in large quantities in Khazaria. So looking into what I would call the minhag, or the established customs in the Khazarian Empire, were things like no work on the Sabbaths, practicing kosher eating, practicing Brit Milah or circumcision, practicing using mikvahs, washing rituals, and separating clean from unclean. A funny thing is that there were Karaites who reported on the Khazars adopting Judaism. Jacob ben Reuben, a Byzantine, looked at the Khazar Jews as Mamzerim. Others, or at least one more Karaite, also used Zechariah 9 verse 6 for the same reason, which is very fascinating that they look at that. That's a Karaite view, but we see the Khazars were accepted by the Pharisees. So some Khazars became Sephardim in Toledo, Spain, and as we read about them, the remnant of those Sephardim Khazars were rabbinical. And some more practices that we read that were applied to the Khazars are the major feast times and appointed times being practiced in addition to the Sabbath being practiced. They would even name their children after some of these feast days, like Hanukkah was a popular Khazarian name. They studied Torah, Talmud, and the Mishnah, and some even studied the Evangelion, or what is commonly referred to as the quote-unquote New Testament. And some even studied the Quran. They practiced Romanio prayers that also evolved into Dagestani Mountain Jewish and Transylvanian prayers that could have been established by Eliezer HaKalir. His rhyme style is actually even practiced in the Cave-in letter. The adoption of this Romanio halakha came from Bulan's rabbi Yitzhak Ha Sangari, and we see that the Khazars started to adopt Hebrew names, establish synagogues, even defend synagogues, and practice the Hebrew language. They even went as far as constructing a tabernacle made according to the Torah. That's an incredible feat and shows how much they loved Judaism. So that's what I have as of right now. I pray you enjoy, and we're going to continue to dig into our people group here. And if you enjoyed the video and want more, please like, comment, and subscribe. Hope you stay blessed. Shalom.